obviously in your position, you've had to take many risks in your careers. What or who was the trigger for you to do this, to go off independently? Because that was a huge risk and opportunity for you, but can you talk a little bit about that?
You know, it's interesting because when I was young, I didn't understand how all things can work for your good, right? I'm like, no, you got that wrong, God. You know, I know you God and all, but all things cannot possibly work for my good. But even the trauma of corporate America, and I'll tell you all, I'm a hypersensitive person. I feel everything, you know, and I internalize everything, which is part of what made my corporate experience, while rewarding, so difficult, because I didn't have the context to say, that's not about me, that's about who they are. You know, 30 years later, of course I do, but at that time I didn't. But if my experience in corporate America had not been so hard, I wouldn't have left. So I didn't see it as much of a risk as other people did, because there was no path for me in the company and really in the industry, in the utility industry, in the technical engineering industry. I couldn't point to one woman on the executive level of the operational part of the department. So I really didn't have anything to say, oh, you can do this, you're bad. It has nothing to do with being bad. It helps if you're a bad sister, and I mean bad, I don't mean it. But that's not it. You have to be visible. People have to select you. People have to be open to you even being the answer. So yeah, it was how rough that was, and how disrespected people were in corporate America. And I said, if I ever, when I left, I prayed through writing my business plan, and then I said, if I ever had a business, I would value people, period. But it was the roughness of the corporate world. Yes.
I was going to ask you, what are you reading right now? Do you have a book or a leadership thing that you kind of lean into, or something you're doing right now?
It's not lean in.
Okay.
I really don't. I'm trying to read 2 books right now. One is Righting My Wrongs by Shaka Senghor, who is a person that went to jail, and now he's so enlightened and sharing his wisdom. And the other one is Detroit Hustle by Amy Hammerl from Detroit, who lives in Detroit too. So those are the 2 books I'm reading, but they don't have anything to do with, you know, my journey. I'm just proud of the people who are doing things like writing books in Detroit. I'm proud of the Renaissance, and I'm proud of the opportunity to be inclusive that we have right now.
Thank you.
Could you share a little bit of some of your strategies on how you kind of stay true to yourself as you took that leap of faith to now you're kind of out there, but then being able to merge with the corporate world and still stay true to what your vision and your about?
That's a really interesting question to me, and here's why. DTE Energy is by far my largest customer, but DTE is operated by a board, by investors, and I have a very populist personality. You know, I want everybody to do the right thing, right, for people, especially for disenfranchised people. So every day I just have to, you know, I know I'm sounding really pious right now, and I'm really not. I curse a lot. But I do put on the whole armor of God, especially courage, because that's really what it takes. I truly believe, just because of all the mess I've been through in business, that everything I'm supposed to have through God, I'm going to have. So I try. That is what helps me. I don't think anyone can block what I'm supposed to have. So that helps me to be courageous. Yesterday, we were talking to a group of nonprofit people who want to do a community solar project that is not part of the DTE's grid. And at the end of the meeting, they said, well, thank you for all of this input and advice, but we know you're not going to speak for our group because DTE is your biggest customer. And I said, I am going to speak for your group because the world is changing energy-wise. People are going to be taking control of their energy destinies. And energy is a huge subject. It's not a DTE subject. It's not a consumer subject. It's really everyone's issue. So again, and that came from maturity. There was a time when I was so afraid to speak up, and I would, if I was able to speak up, I could feel it, you know. It's like, but just growing and going through things has just helped me to realize that there's some things you can control, there's some you can't. But if you're right, if your heart is right, if you feel like you're doing the right thing for you and the best thing, if you feel like you're doing the right thing, it just makes it easier. In the isolation of business and politics, I know being courageous is tough and can be detrimental. I mean, let's be clear on this. But
Just one more thought along those lines, and talking about courageous, have you ever in your growing up your business stepped away because you felt your heart wasn't, I struggle with that on occasion, you know, where business-wise it sounds really good and it's going to be financially successful in the long term, but my heart's saying this might not be like where I want to be.
one of the things that is interesting is that as terrible as an engineer as I am, I really love the energy field. So I've never really felt the need to step away from that. We do a lot of equipment, and I do have kind of two minds on the traditional energy generation and distribution equipment. When I really was kind of veering to some other things, it was around 2008 and 2009, and we know what happened in that period, and I had to come back in and just save my business. You know, 2009, I was in so much debt. I was struggling. I laid off everyone on my team. By 2010, just trying to ride the recession out because no one knew how long it was going to last and how detrimental it was going to be. And even though that time was really hard, I mean, I remember crying. I remember having a dry mouth. I remember, you know, trying to explain to creditors that all of our orders had been canceled because there are no capital projects going on. But what that did is it gave me a renewed appreciation for, girl, you are blessed. You know, you have a business and you're talking about all this other stuff that you want to do. So it really made me come in with a totally different fervor for operating a business and employing people, you know, having team members who have opportunities that really are changing their lives. It just renewed my my interest and my just heart for the business.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
On a beach. Period. Yeah, so even though I look very young, I'm very close to retirement age. And one of the many interesting things about where I am now is I've worked really, really hard. Even though I asked my assistant to change that to 20 years of experience, it's more like 35 or 30, but it just sounds like too much. So I do. I want to be able to travel and do things. I've been working since I was 13 years old. And when I say that I've never had more than 2 weeks off, and that's only been twice in my life. So I'm a hard-working sister. So I really do want to be able to relax, travel, and do nonprofit work. I have a thing for STEM, especially with young girls and especially with Black girls. I need to pull more people into this energy economy, and but not work as hard as I've worked for this period. Thank you all. It's such an honor.
Well, that ought to make everybody excited for the rest of the day, huh? Thank you so much. We just appreciate so much your sharing with us your story and how you managed to get where you are, and we really do take that back with us and should be an inspiration to everybody. I just want to say to Chris and Tony and Jim and Louis, we love you. Jim too. I really hope that we would have more men here. I tried to emphasize this was about women, it wasn't just for women. But we appreciate those of you who are here, and be sure to tell the other guys it wasn't that bad. So we will be doing this again. If you have an idea of somebody who would be a great inspirational speaker like Carla for our next one, be sure and shoot those ideas to me. We hope you all had a good time. We know you had a good time. And we appreciate your being here. We hope that you'll have a good day the rest of the day. Drive safely as you go home. Feel free to stay and chat and have another cup of coffee if you'd like. And we hope to see you all soon.